Now we're live.
Hey, this is like you, in case you all are just joining us. You don't know that we had to take one, but we did. Welcome, everybody. Yes,
It's all good. Yeah.
Yes, welcome everybody to the Isn't It Romantic Book Club. We're going to be discussing our very own Jennie Marts' Kill or Be Killed, which was so good.
Oh, so wonderful.
I know. Can't wait to talk about it. But welcome everyone. We're beaming in live to hopefully Instagram, YouTube. We're beaming into the Team Source Books, to my page, Sharon's page, Diana's page, Jennie's page. We're just all over today. So feel free to leave us a comment. There's usually a gift card up for grabs for one lucky commenter. And I guess I'll tell you who I am. I'm Abbie Roads. I write dark romantic thrillers. I tell people think like an episode of Criminal Minds meets a love story with a twist. I have a little pile of books here. Here's Dangerous Dreams and Broken Dreams. And this one in ebook is free today and for just a few more days. So today, June 20th, it is free, and maybe for the 21st and 22nd. But after that, it's not free anymore. So grab the e-copy for free right now. And I should mention that Dangerous Dreams, the first one, is actually on sale for $2.99. So you could grab that one too. And there's Shattered Dreams, and then Defying Evil and Capturing Fate. And that's me and my books.
Hi, everyone. I'm Diana Muñoz Stewart. I write romantic suspense for the strong of heart. My latest release, It's All in the Hips, is out now. My Bad Legacy series starts with Broken Promises. The second, Fatal Promises, is out later this year. And my Spy Makers Guild series is out now. This is the last in the Spy Makers Guild series. And I just want to do a couple little, checkups. I don't know. I want everyone to know that we're no longer in the group. So there isn't a Romantic Book Club group. We no longer appearing in there. So we're just on the pages of Facebook. So, if you're, for whatever reason you're seeing us someplace other than that, that is why. So.
Yeah, Facebook changed their rules, and so we can't beam in live to groups anymore. And so even my Dangerously Dark Darlings, which, people watched from there too, we can't beam in there either. So.
But we are on YouTube.
Yeah. So it's
Yes,
kind of a pain.
we are on YouTube.
Yeah.
And YouTube channel.
We are on YouTube, and we still have the group, and we have a lot going on in the group. We have the Summer of Love giveaway going on. So you get a free book every week. If you're in the group, you have a link to a free book every week for the entire summer. So make sure you join the group.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And my name is Sharon Wray. I write romantic suspense. These are some of the books of they're sexy ex-Green Berets and smart women and all of the fun, sexy shenanigans that happen with them. I also have a new anthology out for the summer called That One Summer. You can see that's the cover of the anthology, but that's for my contemporary romance novella series. And that's been really, really fun. I love doing that on the side. These books are fun to write, but they're long and they can get kind of dark. So having the contemporary books on the side it's just fun to write. Anyway, today though, I'm so happy to introduce Jennie, one of our own. Jennie, it's been a real privilege to know Jennie for all of these years. I got to know her really well when we all started working for Source Books together. And Jennie is a USA Today best-selling author of award-winning books filled with love, laughter, and always a happily ever after. Readers call her books laugh out loud funny and the perfect mix of romance, humor, and steam. Fic Central claimed one of her books was the most fun I've had reading in years, which I can actually attest to. She's living her own happily ever after in the mountains of Colorado with her husband, 2 dogs, a parakeet who loves to tweet to the oldies. She's addicted to Diet Coke, adores Cheetos, and believes you can't have too many books, shoes, or friends. Also, I agree with. Her books range from Western romance to cozy mysteries, but they all have the same charm and appeal of quirky small-town life. She loves genre mashups like adding romance to her page-turner cozy mysteries and creating the hockey-playing cowboys in the Cowboys of Credence series. The same small-town community comes to life with more animal antics in her latest Credence Horse Rescue series, and her sassy heroines and hunky heroes carry over in her heartwarming feel-good romances from Hallmark Publishing. Take the Honey and Run is the first in her cozy mystery series, and in the beekeeping mystery series. from Crooked Lane. And today we're reading, this month we read Kill or Be Killed. So Jenny, I'm so excited you're here. Love Bailey, love Evie, love the whole series. I devoured it. I
love Sawyer too. Oh my God.
And Griffin.
Oh yeah.
And Griffin, yes.
Yeah.
And
Jenny, I have to tell you, that first scene was so hysterical, that, where she's like the poo and she can't get through that window.
Funny.
I was dying. I was listening to it on audio, and I literally had my hand over my mouth, and I didn't even realize until the scene was over that I was like driving with one hand. Was fantastic.
Yay. Did that ever happen to you, Jenny? I mean, it sounds like it might have.
Yes, Jenny. Have you ever tried to squeeze through the bathroom window of a biker bar after you pissed off some biker chicks?
No, that did not happen to me. But it is one of my claustrophobic issues of caving, of going down in a cave. I'm always like, oh, what if I get wedged into a cave and there's not enough Vaseline to get me out?
Oh my God.
No,
that is a worry that I have.
I am with you, Jenny. This scares me also.
When you're tall and curvy, caving is not for you.
How did you come up with the
fantastic
opening scene? Did that scene just come to you, or did you write it later?
So as we all know, we like to try to open our book in action. And so, you want to kind of build your world before you just murder someone. So I was trying to think of how I could open up the book in action. And it seemed like having the two trouble finding, shenanigan besties, trying to get out of some sort of, shenanigan that they got into was a great way to put them in peril right in the beginning.
It was great. When you were writing the first book, did you already know the plot for this book? Because it's certainly
That'd be great if I did.
Stand alone, but you had so many wonderful references to the first story.
I knew a little bit, but I mean, I had pitched it, so I knew the premise of the book. But as you go along, you just find so many more fun ideas, and your brain, I think, sometimes does some of that for you, where all of a sudden you'll make a connection back and you'll be like, oh, I didn't even realize I did that. Aren't I clever?
Yeah, I love those moments. I call those my writer high moments.
Yeah,
I've never gotten a runner's high, but I can get a writer's high.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, there's something so satisfying about killing a real dirtball in your book. Yes, somebody killed him. He was just such a dirtbag, And then I started feeling sorry for him, because then you did a really good job of making me have empathy for him after he was dead. So you did really good with that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had to make him, you got to make that villain pretty slimy so that people don't get too sad when he gets bumped off with
I was very happy.
Well, and what I like about your books is you don't have a huge murder count. Like some cozies, it's like every left and right. I mean,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
sounds like another author I know.
Yeah.
But
just
anyway,
yourself to the one, Jenny. We appreciate that.
You had two, didn't? Yeah, you had two.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you did have two. You did have two. Yeah,
one towards the very end, who I was even happier. That
and
one,
they were both dirtbags. They were both dirtballs. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then in the fourth book, I'm considering a woman, and I didn't realize until we were talking about it that so far all my murder victims are men. I don't know if there's
Oh,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't
Little
really
insight.
killed a woman yet.
and most of the suspects have been women.
No, that's
true.
interesting too. Yeah, although not so much in this one. There's a lot more men suspects in this one.
That's true, because you don't have just one suspect.
Yeah.
In this one.
I hope not. Yeah. So red herrings are really fun for me to try to come up with.
Well,
red
and
herrings.
It's so hard to talk about these online because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
Thank you.
But okay,
So,
let's
can
talk.
you tell us how much research? Sorry, go ahead, Sharon.
That's exactly the question I was going to ask.
About how much research? So I'm very fortunate in the fact that I live with a certified beekeeper. So we don't have any hives at our house, but because my husband ran a nature center for so many years, he had a live observation hive at the nature center, which it's still there. But he knows so many facts about bees. And when he talks about them, he's so passionate about what an interesting insect they are. Gosh, I don't remember if they're an insect. They might be an arthropod or some funny word like that. But such an interesting little creature that they are. And sometimes I do try to make little tiny parallels to what's happening in the bee world, to what's happening in the murder mystery. But if I have a bee question, oftentimes I just call on Todd. Or I did some research into killer bees, a little bit more research into killer bees for this one.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That was good.
So did you all listen to it or did you read it, Sharon?
I read it.
Okay.
It. Yeah.
So how was the audiobook?
It was good. It was really good.
I really liked the narrator. She did the first one.
Yes, I liked her.
So
I listened to the first one too.
Jenny, is there going to be a third book?
Oh yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Do you have a title yet, or are you not
You have
sharing that yet?
Title
no.
yet?
I don't have a title. I have some potential titles, but I can't even think of what the new title was I was thinking of. I have some potential titles. But no, they picked the titles kind of later on. And so I don't. I think there's one that's maybe like a sting of betrayal or something.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, and I'm hoping the next one is called Such a Buzzkill.
I love it.
So
That's
I'm
funny.
hoping that's what the
That's
next
really
one is
cute.
called.
I really love that.
So, what do
love-
you like better, the cozy mysteries or the hockey playing cowboys?
You know what? I like them both for different reasons. I mean, I really like being able to put so much emotion and romance into the cowboys, but I can't really get away from them because this book has our hunky, hot cowboy sheriff, and there's a little romance still in this one, and a little mystery still revolving around who Daisy's father really is. And I'm having a lot of fun keeping readers in the dark about that part of the mystery and who Daisy's dad really is. But I like being able to still put a little mystery with the swoony cowboy into the cozies.
Yes, and I feel like you left this one with a cliffhanger about that. When
I did. I solved the mystery, but I did leave a little cliffhanger.
You did. And I'm like, okay, where's book 3? Like, I need this now.
Yeah, I love the progression of the second chance romance. I think it's going really well.
Oh,
and you know what I like about it is it's not, I write a lot of second chance romance in my novellas because it's just easier to have them know each other. I don't like second chance romances when 10 years later, they're still carrying all the baggage. Oh, you didn't show up for my prom, right? Like I like second chance romances where they're past that. And it's, okay, it happened, but what are we going to do now? Do you know what I mean? And that's what I feel like.
Well, and with, in a regular romance, you kind of wrap all that stuff up in one. In a cozy mystery series, you can't like get them together and get them married at the end. You have to keep going and going and going. So that's a little bit different for me, that I don't get to just wrap up the romance at the end and have everything be happily ever after. I have to kind of hold, kind of slow burn this out for several books.
But you remember, we all received it at one point in our careers, that list of intimacy, like the steps of intimacy.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like with cozy mysteries that are done well, and especially yours, like you're taking each step as a book, right?
Like hand to hand,
then touches her hair, hand to whatever it is,
hand to leg,
and you're slowly taking a couple for each book as you work your way through.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to kind of do that. So
Yeah, I love having romance in all my books, even like my political thrillers.
I do too.
I don't think I can write one without romance. Like I've even tried, and it's like I can't. Like
Yeah.
just like in me that it has to be romance somewhere.
I agree.
Okay, Jenny, what was your? I'm going to tell you what mine was before you tell yours. But what was your favorite scene in the book? Because mine was where the ants were at the talent show doing their performance, with the one doing her comedy with her baton and the other one doing her singing and like doing a big rap in the middle of it. And I was taking a shower, getting ready for work, listening to that scene. It was just dying laughing at the ants doing all this. And I was like, oh my God, Jenny is so brilliant that she can do this funny stuff, because my brain just doesn't think funny. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh my God, she just does this so easy and perfectly. And it was just so wonderful. That was true. I know that of all the scenes, I just love that one.
That's my favorite scene too.
Is it?
Yes. And I had originally written the rap, and then I went to a writing retreat, and my girlfriend that I was doing the writing retreat with, she's like, no, we got to tighten this up. And so we are like in the room, like saying it out loud and trying to do this rap and get it to, I'm trying to beatbox and trying to get that rap so that it fit exactly and worked on all the beats. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with that, because I always try to think like, how can I turn this situation on its head? What can I do in this situation to make it unexpected?
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite scenes too. I really had fun with those ants.
Well, I loved the first scene, and I loved the almost kiss scene. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but I loved that scene.
Aw.
That was really wonderful. It was just, again, I like romance, but I felt that scene was it was filled with so much wonderful tension. And then all of a sudden they get interrupted. So I love the murder weapon. Again, I'm not going to name it, but I love the murder weapon. Well, the first murder weapon. The second one was good too, but
yes, unconventional.
Very unconventional.
Unconventional.
And those things are heavy.
They really are.
Yeah, they really are heavy. I love the coroner. I love making funny things for Leon Foster, for my
he's so cool. Yeah, I like him too.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could give
you had your share of puns in this book.
Well, and I have a neighbor who is a police officer, and I go to him and ask him he's mentioned in the back of the book, and I go and ask him about some of my details and how things, how I put things. And he said, that there is a lot of humor around, like they have to have kind of that humor so that they don't just get so overwhelmed with all the tragedy of it. And so that's one of his favorite characters too. So he loves that crazy coroner.
That's cool.
And I love Evie's brother too. I want more of him.
Yeah.
and Griff too.
I know. Oh, I know.
Hmm.
Well, how can you not like a character who's described as like a cross between, or what do I describe him as, like a young Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman in his young Wolverine stage?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And
order one for one, please.
And he's so good with teenagers. Like, I love the fact you do. I mean, obviously you've raised teenagers.
Yeah. But not teenage girls. I did not raise teenage girls.
Very well, but my daughter went through that, the too much love. You look at her sideways, like, too much love, and she'd run away for no reason. You did really well with that. But I love how he has the instinct to go do something. The women pull him back, but then he does his own thing later. I really like him, and I hope he gets a happily ever after. I'm matching all the
characters are all authentic.
I know.
Yeah.
I have two, Sharon. And I'm thinking, well, Jenny could do a whole series with, Griff and Evie, and then she could do a whole series with Mateo and who? Okay,
I know. The suspect of the next book.
Right? There you go. See, we've got this planned for you, Jenny.
Good, perfect. I could use the plot help.
Do you have a
so the romance trope is second chance romance? Is that your favorite? That's actually my favorite. I love the second
That's
chance.
my favorite. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in real life think about getting a second chance with that first love, or maybe with the fifth love. I don't know. But I think a lot of people, I don't know. I like that. Getting a second. I love just the whole idea of getting a second chance and forgiveness and grace. And I like that. Yeah. I don't think I've written an enemies to lovers. That's one that I don't read a lot of.
There you go.
Your last Christmas book, your last Credence Christmas book came close.
Yeah, sort of. But a whole like where two people meet and they just don't like each other, and then all of a sudden they're like,
that's too much conflict for you.
Yeah. I know. I like tough but softy underneath heroes. I like a hero who could like throw a hay bale, throw a tall woman over his shoulder, and then be like, do something sweet and tender.
And make s'mores like in front of a fireplace, right?
And make s'mores, yeah.
And cuddle puppies and stuff like
that. And rescue horses and exactly.
Right.
Now you don't have as many animals in these books as you do in some of the other books. Is that hard for you?
It is. Well, I mean, the horse rescue, I had to put a lot of things, they're rescuing animals all over the place. But I wonder if maybe the next one, I do put so many books. I do put so many animals in there, and I didn't put as many in as this one. It is hard.
I like the chug. I thought that was adorable.
The what? The chug?
The chug. The pug that's a chihuahua.
Oh. And that really happened to me, that I was in the did I name him Simon? Is that what I named that dog? I can't remember, but I was in the veterinary office and a gal walked in and I said, "Oh my gosh, that's the cutest dog." And she said, "His name is Chug. He's a Chihuahua pug, and my wife and I call him Chug." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm using that in a book." And I remembered it and was like, "Okay, I'm putting that in a book right now." So
how cool would that be if you were like that person and you're like watching you say that? Like that would be so cool if that was your dog.
I know.
They ended up in a book.
I know. I don't know how to like get that in. I wonder if I could go to the vet clinic and say, "Hey," because I think the dog's name really is Simon. I wonder if I could go describe it and say, "Can you get this book to this person?" I don't know.
Well, how many chugs could they have, right?
How many chugs could they have? Yeah, I bet you I could somehow get a book to that person. So here's an interesting story about some of the characters in this book. And I don't know if you read the acknowledgments or if listened to the acknowledgments, but I was last year or a year and a half ago, whatever it was, I was in Mexico, and with a couple of girlfriends, we were on a girls' trip, and we had gone on a snorkeling trip, and we were coming back in the bus, and I was talking to this gal named Charlotte, and there was a couple behind me named Sabia and Toby. It's like, what was the name? And they were like, I think they were a young married couple. And my girlfriends were like, "Hey, you keep asking us to help you plot out this mystery, but we're terrible at this. And so why don't you ask her on the bus?" Well, the gal Charlotte, who was right next to me, she worked in television. And so she had all these great ideas. And Toby and Sabia were in the back seat, and they looked me up, and they're like showing my friend going, "Is this her? Is this her?" And so they were tossing out ideas. And so I told them when we got there, I said, "I'm putting you guys in the book." And so I have no idea if they ever found out, but I put their names in the book. So Charlotte is named after a gal who gave me, like, she just was great at talking through plot. And Sabia and Toby are a real couple. And I met them snorkeling in Mexico.
Well, that's fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Jenny, all the
Real
recipes.
life inspiration.
Did you try all the recipes before you put them in the book?
So the first one, we tried all the recipes. I shouldn't admit this out loud, but the second one, I did not try all of the recipes. And I actually got an email from someone that there's a mistake in one of the recipes.
Oh no.
And I don't know what to do about it, but it says, I'm hoping people will just kind of figure it out, because it says, like, do the dry ingredients and then cream the butter and sugar together and then mix, kind of mix them together like you do cookies, the dry into the wet. And I put the sugar in both places.
I think people figure it out, but you can put it on your website or in a newsletter.
Yeah. So I feel kind of bad. I should have tested that one out a little bit better. So the next recipes will get tested. I have made a couple of them,
That
but
could have just been a typo though.
yeah, I don't know. I feel really bad. And I appreciate that someone tried to make it and actually called me on it and said, hey, what's the deal with these sugars, with this sugar?
The honey cheesecake. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I think I need to like try that one. That sounds amazing.
Could you picture the whole like cooking show?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Did you picture it kind of like the Great British Bake Off?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
I kind of tried to make it look like that with the different stations, and then tried to have the women in the town like make all the, put the honey bee motif on everything and have everything be black and white.
Well, I love the fact one of the contestants is the guy who owns the biker bar.
I know. He was really cool.
The girl too. Oh my
Yes,
God.
he does need a girl.
Yeah. I really had fun with I've tried to figure out like what would Spike make? What would this owner of the biker bar? So the honey inspired wings and the jalapeno poppers with the honey glaze or whatever, that was easy. But then I was like, okay, he has to make like the cutest honey bee cupcakes. Like I have to give Spike like the cutest thing. And then to have his Meemaw like out in the audience and he's like, hey Meemaw. I had fun with that too.
Is he going to show up in book 3?
I don't know. He should, huh?
Yeah.
I like him.
Like he's got to be one of the regulars now.
Yeah, okay.
You keep introducing all these hot guys. So
I know.
we're all like, yes, they must be included, Jenny. Like,
They need to come back.
right?
You need to give them like their own, like the ants have their own beehive reading book. You need to give the men their own thing. Like pool
That
night.
could be my new cozy mystery is like, it's always amateur sleuths that are women. Maybe I need to have like hot men amateur sleuths.
There you I would read this. Like,
Or have it in the books that the men are off doing something like once a month and the women are like, don't have no idea what they're doing. And it turns out they're like not doing anything at all. Radio. Like, and of course it would have to do something with bourbon and bacon and bees. And like, they're thinking of all this masculine stuff. And they're like, reading the newspaper or I don't know. And cross the puzzles together.
I will take note of these ideas.
We were joking on Father's Day. Everything's like
appreciate
bourbon now. And I don't know any men who drink bourbon.
I don't know any either, honestly.
You know what I mean? And it's like beard oil, bourbon, and bacon was like the theme for this Father's Day. Maybe the bacon on weekends, but I don't know.
I don't know. I want to do a shout out to Becky and Michelle. Hi, you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I love that Michelle just read the book. So that's really fun. Hope you loved it.
Yeah, and guys, remember that if you leave a comment, you are eligible for a $20 gift card. So comment away. Ask
So
Jenny.
Jenny,
question.
Yeah.
What inspired you to first start writing? Like, I don't know if I've asked you this before.
Don't you think we all I started writing and telling stories when I was a kid. I never just showed up late and said, shoot, I'm late. I feel like I always show up late and have a good story. Why? I feel like I've always been a storyteller. I always love telling stories. I wrote a mystery book in 5th grade with another friend, and we tried to get it published. I wrote a mystery in 8th grade that my sister still thinks is, a masterpiece, which it is not.
That's a good sister. That's
Yeah.
a good sister.
That's a good sister. So I always just, over the years thought, oh, someday that's my dream, is to write a book. And then I turned 40 and kids were going off to college and my husband had just got his master's degree. And I thought, gosh, I'm 40 years old. What have I always wanted to do? What's ahead for me? Who am I now? Because once your kids leave, your whole, well, for some of us like my whole identity of mom is over. So who am I now, and who am I supposed to be, and what have I always wanted to do, and what's my dream career? And so I started writing when I was 40.
That's cool, Jenny.
Wow.
That's really cool.
So you just sat down, and did it take you like, a week? Jenny, how long did it take that
Well,
first?
you know how fast Jenny
Yeah.
writes. I mean, it probably did
I'm
take a week.
teasing.
Actually, so I read a lot of Nora Roberts at the time, and Janet Ivanovich and Susan Elizabeth Phillips. So my first book, Another Saturday Night and I Ain't Got Nobody, is like I mimicked all of them. Like I tried to put all of my love of them. So I tried to make a book that was a women's fiction, mystery / romance. That is what I tried to put in this book, which I think that's what I did with this book. And I knew book clubs were really popular at the time. I wanted to have a dog in the book. So Bo, the golden retriever, is in the book. It's about, this series of mysteries is about a group of women in a book club. They're all different ages. I liked having, the wisdom and humor of the older, grandma type character, and also having a young, Piper is the young, she's in high school at the time. She goes to college later, but anyway, I wrote the book by hand in a notebook. My first 4 books I wrote by hand in a notebook and then transcribed because I didn't know anything. The first time I got edits back, I didn't know what track changes were. Mm-hmm. So I literally had 2 windows open and I was trying to read through one and then put the changes in another. I didn't know that you were supposed to click through to the next thing and press accept or reject. I didn't know that. So
you must have been so thrilled when you figured that out. That must have been
my gosh. This is so much easier than what I was doing. And I also, because I love Nora Roberts, and Nora Roberts is the queen of romance, and she has written so many books, she is allowed to do whatever she wants. And so she head hops in her books. And so I didn't know that you could not just switch around to different point of views. She just lets you know what every character in the scene is thinking. And I didn't know that you had to do a scene break to get to the next point of view. So I wrote like that. I actually wrote this book where every chapter that was in the main characters pointed, it was first person. Every time I was talking about Sunny, it was in first person. Every time I talked from the book club, it was in third. That is how I wrote this book, because I did not know what I was doing. I pitched this book like that, written like that, and got offers. Not offers to buy it.
Wow.
Offers to send chapters. And these chapters are in these 2 different point of views, first and third. So once I finally figured it all out, I rewrote it all and fixed it. And I learned a lot over the course of a few years. And so
that's the way you do things, basically, is you figure things out as you go. You're definitely not a plotter, then you're a pantser. You just figure things out as you go.
I was a pantser, but then when I started writing faster and more books a year, I think probably my 3rd year of being published, I wrote 6 books in 1 year. And I was so passionate about it and so excited that I was finally doing, this career of my heart, that I just woke up in the morning and was so excited to write. And, after my second book got published, got picked up, Entangled, and this book was indie published. I had a good friend that was having success. This was back in 2012. So it was before the, Amazon got glutted with indie publishing, and she was having and I was her banker. I worked at a bank for, 25 years of my life, and I was her banker. I was cashing her checks, these giant checks. And I was like, okay. And she's like, just try it. And you guys have probably heard this story before, but I decided to indie publish this first book. And I asked my husband, what will you consider success with this book? Because I put some money into the cover. I paid, $1,000 for editing, whatever. And I said, what are you going to consider success with this little pink book? And he said, if 10 people that we don't know and we're not related to buy this book, we will call that a success. And this book has been downloaded over 100,000 times in like 8 different countries.
Jenny,
So,
I have goosebumps hearing that. That is great.
Yeah. So I guess that series is a success. And I just had someone like 2 weeks ago come up to me and say, when's the next page turner coming out?
Are there more coming out in that series?
Oh, that's awesome.
There's always a plan to do it. So I just have to find the time.
Okay.
So, and I will tell
you just write one at a time? Is that it? Or
do I write one book at a time? Is that what you asked me? Yes, I do write one book at a time. Yeah, I can't think of any time when I've tried to write 2 at the same time. I'm always doing one. But I do have some fun news with this book, Take the Honey and Run, the first book in this series. I go tomorrow night to the banquet because this book is a finalist in the Colorado Book Awards.
Oh, wonderful.
So
congratulations.
A banquet to see who the winner is. But
Are you excited?
Fun.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like it's a whole thing. And A Cowboy State of Mind was a finalist I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And it was during COVID. And so it was like a big Zoom call. And it wasn't the same as like actually having, a banquet with all these people and wearing a fancy dress. And so I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's so exciting. That's wonderful.
Do you have a speech?
And can I share one other kind of fun piece of news like that? Would you guys let me share one other fun piece of news?
Of course.
So, this series that I've been working on this summer, this one that I did with Sharon in the Wedding Tale, Save the Date for a Cowboy, Love at First Cowboy, and Overdue for a Cowboy, my newest book. This book right now, Love at First Cowboy, I found out last week, won the Holt Medallion.
Oh, that's
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That is
That's a
fantastic.
contest to
For
win.
contemporary romance. I think it's short. I think it was the short contemporary category.
Jenny,
So
that's
anyway,
Oh, that is
I got a
awesome.
call while I was on vacation. And so if you're looking for a fun cowboy book to read, jump in on the Lassiter Ranch series.
What are you working on right now?
I am working on writing chapters for a proposal for a new book, and I am working on the next book in this series. So this series has 3 brothers, Ford, Dodge, and Chevy. The 3 brothers were all named after their mom named them after the truck that their deadbeat dads drove away from them in. And so Chevy is the middle brother, and he's kind of the charming middle brother, and he gets his story next.
Okay.
So that's what I'm working on right now. It comes out in September.
It's very exciting. And then when is
So
the
with all
bee-
this stuff going on, do you have time to read or no?
I have been taking more time to read this summer. And I know you're going to ask me what I just read that I liked. Oh, I just, on vacation, I read Emily Henry's Book Lover, and I loved that book. I got it for Mother's Day. My kids gave it to me for Mother's Day. I love that book. I just read First Live Wins. I just finished that a couple days ago.
Oh,
That's
how was that? How was that? I've been thinking about getting it.
Reese Witherspoon book. It was good. Yeah, it was good. It was a good mystery.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You introduced me to Remarkably Bright Creatures. That was a good one.
wasn't that so good? I love that. So when I was just on vacation, we went into an aquarium and I got to see an Pacific Northwest octopus or whatever, the kind of octopus that Marcella was in the book. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what the octopus was like. And I imagined like putting my arm down in there like she did in the book and having the octopus wrap its tentacles around her arm. If you have not read Remarkably Bright Creatures yet by Shelby Van Pelt, please read it. You will not be sorry. It was so good.
Yeah, that's on my
Yeah,
TBR
for sure.
list. I haven't read it yet, so but I'd like.
So what about TV? What do you like to watch on television?
We're big streamers and we're big bingers. And I just was saying that I can't remember the last thing that we really, really loved. I read Lessons in Chemistry this summer and really loved that book. So we watched that on Apple. I
Mm.
mean, of course, my favorite, Ted Lasso, is just my favorite. I have my kids got me a little sign in my office that says, "Don't you dare settle for fine," because that's like one of my most favorite Ted Lasso moments. And I think Roy Kent is just like the perfect hero. I love him so much.
I know, right? Isn't he just adorably grumpy, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And yet he just does these things where you're like, he's so grumpy and grouchy, and then he just shows up and does like the perfect thing with Jamie or the perfect thing. Yeah. So we've watched Ted Lasso several times. I can't think of anything great right now. I feel like we've gone through everything. Don't you guys feel like you've just watched everything?
Always feel like
What
that.
about Bridgerton? I mean, they
Oh,
just
I
had
was
the
waiting
latest
until the
Bridgerton just
next
came out.
part. Is the second part out? Is part 2 out already?
It's out. Yeah.
Oh, it is?
So
Okay. I
good.
was waiting because I didn't want to
Mhm.
like watch half and not be able to watch the second half. I'm savoring that until I turn some stuff in. I'm making it's my prize for turning in a book per month.
Oh, good.
Good for you.
That's
Word.
a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll love it. So, who is your favorite hero or heroine that you've written?
Oh, God, come on. I've written 36 books.
Pick one.
I know. I don't know. I really love this heroine in this book. I really love Maisie Graham. She's a librarian and she's curvy and kind of shy, which I'm not shy, but she is tall and curvy and has had this crush on this cowboy since 10th grade. And she finally just kind of gets up the courage to just kind of go for it. And there's a lot of bookish puns in this and bookish pickup lines. So I really had fun writing these like bookish pickup lines of this librarian trying to figure out how she's going to like hook up with him. And this whole series is kind of wallflowers. And I really had fun doing like some wallflower who find the courage to go after their man. I think that's fun. I think Sunny Vale in this series is probably the most like me. She likes Cheetos and she likes Snickers and likes Diet Coke. And I think she's probably the most like my personality. I don't know.
So
All the heroes in the horse rescue books. Oh my God. And Sourcebooks does such a great job. I mean, look at these men. How are you not like in love with these men?
Mhm.
Look how hot they are.
Mhm.
So those are some of my favorite heroes. I don't know. Who's your favorite, Diana? It's hard.
Oh my God.
Do you have a
Yeah,
favorite?
that is hard.
I have a favorite.
Yeah,
too.
I think
Oh, yeah. I know Abby's favorite.
who?
Who's your favorite, Abbie?
Lathan and in Broken Dreams. He's my favorite. He will always be my favorite.
Was he your first Golden Heart final?
Yeah. He was my Golden Heart final. Yeah. But that's not why I love him. I spent
I know. But
2.5 years writing him, and getting his hearing disability and impairment down just right. So he's my guy. He
did a great job too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say Dusty and Reckless Grace was one of my favorites. He's just
yeah.
charming and funny and, all the good things. Sharon?
Sharon, do you have a favorite?
Probably Nate in One Dark Wish. This was the first book I ever wrote. It was not the first book I ever published, but it was the first book I ever wrote. Just like Jenny, knew nothing about anything. But he was my first Golden Heart final. And he was not the first book to sell though. But anyway, he's my favorite.
That's
and
cool.
he plays a lot. He's in all of the books. So, and I think that's probably why, because I have such a connection to him. It's very easy for me to have him in all the other books. So.
Okay. Wow, that's cool. So, and Sharon, I just want to tell you, because I don't know if you saw, I sent you a little private message in the chat. So, and Jenny, so you mentioned your audiobook. Do you ever listen to your audiobooks?
I do sometimes. So what's really fun about Take the Honey and Run is my husband got it, and he does the elliptical every morning for like 30, 40 minutes. And he would listen to a chapter a day on the elliptical, and I'm upstairs and could hear him. So I actually got to hear this one every morning. That's how I know Chris Dukart did such a good job. So yes, I heard that one. I picked the narrator for the Page Turner series, and I had to like listen to all of it to be able to find mistakes or whatever. So I have listened to the Page Turners, and Stacey Golombowski does such a great job on that. I always listen to a bit of them. Virginia Rose has done 2 of my books, and she does an amazing job. I got to pick with source books. I got to pick some of the heroes and heroines, and Connor Craze does A Cowboy State of Mind. Oh gosh, what's that hero's name? I can't think of what his name is right now. The wounded, scarred hero that saves this really injured horse. And he has this big following. And I remember like women just going crazy saying, "Oh, I cried so hard when he did such a great job." And I picked, like, I was at the bank on my lunch break, like listening to 5 different men read this excerpt from my book and trying to pick like which of these 5 men I imagined as Zane. That's his name. And that was really fun. So sometimes I listen to like bits and pieces. I listen to the sample always, of course. And by the way, that's actually huge news right now, is this book is $2.99 on Chirp right now. And I've got 2 or 3 of the cowboy books are like $3.99 audiobook to purchase on Chirp right now.
Ooh, oh, wow.
I don't know how long they'll be on there, but if you like to use Chirp, which is the audiobook version of BookBub, I've got 3 or 4 sale books for audiobook right now.
So go there and look up Jenny's name, and then you'll be able to get all the sales.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I think I have all of them already in audio and paperback. I've got both.
Aww.
And
so, Jenny, do you write every day?
Well, so oddly enough, this summer I've taken a few weeks off. So, but before that, I used to write every single day, and then I made myself take weekends off. And once I made myself start taking weekends off. Once I went full-time writing and gave up the bank job. When I was working at the bank, I worked part-time, so I would do, long days of writing on my days off. I write sometimes if I don't get all my writing done during the day, I still handwrite at night sometimes before I go to bed, or I have a notebook next to my bed that sometimes when I wake up in the morning, that's I don't know if you guys do this, but it's kind of your creative time right before you wake up. Like you kind of can lay there a little bit and think through. I don't know, my brain gets really creative then. And so sometimes I'll pick up my notebook and I'll write out 3 or 4 pages. And so I still use a notebook, and I try to give myself weekends and write during the week instead of. What about you guys? Do you do that? Do you write every day?
I like to, but I don't always get a chance. Day job sometimes bleeds into evening, and then I don't have time. But my goal is to always try to write at least 1 hour, even on a work day.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I try to write every day. I do contract work on the side, but I still try to write every day. It's hard though.
On the weekends, you guys try to write on the weekends too?
I do, because I have 4 elderly parents, and I'm constantly running around to different states trying to figure out what's going on with them. So I try to write on the weekends. That way, if I can't, I have deadlines for myself, like word count deadlines. So I always try to be a little bit ahead. So that way, if I get behind, it's not as stressful.
Yeah. And I think working, like I can't, if I didn't write on the weekends, I wouldn't have much done at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's
true.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it with full-time job and full-time writing too. That just seems like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I try to write 10,000 words.
I find myself just squeezing it in.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of kids.
I have a lot of kids, and like Sharon, my parents are older, and my mom has gone through a bunch of stuff. So I'm at the hospitals writing, but I love the idea of having a notebook by my bed, and I've never thought of that before. So Jenny, I'm going to take steal that idea from you. That's great.
And sometimes I do it at night. I have this little like hug light, like a little flashlight thing that hangs around your neck so I can like read in bed at night. And sometimes I just have my notebook at night, and if I haven't got my words done during the day, or if I'm behind deadline, and it's just a different kind of creative outlet. Like, it's a different creative medium. And sometimes if I get stuck during the day, or I have a little scene that I was thinking about, it's amazing. You can get 2,000 words like written out in a notebook, and the next day I dictate a lot. So then I'll dictate it into an email and copy and paste it into my manuscript and be like, wow, I wrote 1,800 words by hand last night. That was kind of cool.
That is awesome. What a neat way to do it.
Cool.
So you switch from hand to computer to voice. You dictate. You'll dictate chapters.
If I get stuck, I go for a walk, and I'll be walking along, like dictating into my phone as I'm walking through the park. And sometimes people will be like, huh, so weird. Well, I try to make it seem like I'm just talking to someone on the phone, but sometimes it's not good when you're talking about murder or a murder weapon
or a kissing scene.
I was going to say a sex scene, but yeah, Sharon was better. Kissing scene.
I probably wouldn't dictate that as I walked in the park with my dog, but I've definitely done a murder scene and talked about murder and dialogue. And sometimes when I'm in the shower, I'll run through scenes of dialogue in my head like I see it in a movie. So as soon as I get out, I'll quickly open up my phone and just say it all out as fast as I can so that I don't forget it, because I'm old and my brain doesn't always remember things. So
I picture you walking and dictating your murder scene, and then having a gorgeous police officer show up at your door because someone turned you in to the police. And
he was plotting murder in the park.
Plotting murder. Exactly.
Yeah, I literally just Googled yesterday, what is a poison you can use to kill someone that mimics like a bee sting? No.
Was there such a thing?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
And then I also thought, you know what? I could just make that up. Who's going to know? Or I could just fictionalize some kind of,
Is it like an anaphylaxis kind of reaction?
Yeah. And I was like, I can always just fictionalize what it is.
I read a book once where the person was having an anaphylactic shock and they were given Benadryl and they died. And they ended up, it was an overdose of Benadryl because the person was highly sensitive to Benadryl, and the murderer knew that.
Oh.
I don't know if that's true, though. I mean, that could be totally made up, but I guess.
Yeah. And I think sometimes mystery readers get mad if you venture too far from the truth.
They're
because
like
they want to figure it out. They want to be able to see what it is. So they want it to be real enough that they can piece it out and figure out the mystery.
Yeah.
Which me too. I like that too.
Yeah, I do too. Because you want
it's got to be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Give the reader a good chance.
Yeah.
That's all.
And usually I've watched a mystery series, and by the end I've told my husband, oh, it was him. Oh, it was him. Oh, it was him. Oh, it was her. Oh, it was her. So by the time I get to the end, I'm like, see, I told you.
You must be so fun to watch a show with, Jenny.
Do you watch a lot of the British mysteries?
I love mysteries, and I love listening to British mysteries too.
Really?
On audiobook, yeah. I think that's fun. I was trying to think of one I just listened to, but I listen to audiobooks a lot too as I'm cleaning the kitchen or whatever. Driving around.
Do you do podcasts or no?
I don't really. I probably should. I should probably try to better myself with a podcast versus just listening to an English person talk about how they
doesn't mean you're bettering yourself just because you're listening to a podcast. It depends on the podcast.
I should maybe listen to some true crime podcasts, see if I could get some ideas. I do love Only Murders in the Building. I can't wait for the next season of Only Murders in the Building to come out this summer. I think it's coming at the end of August, isn't it?
I think so.
Or later this summer. I love that show. Speaking of podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
This has been so much fun. I had such a ball talking to you and listening to your book. And we're looking forward. Do you want to remind us what's coming up next?
Next month, we are reading One Cursed Rose. There's always a glare.
I know, it's so hard.
Oh, there, that's perfect.
One Cursed Rose by Rebecca Zanetti.
Oh, I can't wait to have Rebecca here. You guys are going to love her.
I know. I am dying to read this one too. This just sounds so good. So definitely grab your copy of One Cursed Rose and keep your eyes open for.
It's a beautiful cover. Yeah.
For when we're doing our next live stream. So all righty.
All right. Looking forward to it. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of the week and weekend.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.